we've got the science to prove that this product is doing what we've said it does all along, is it's removing these harmful toxins in this very toxic world.
450% increase in toxic manganese leaving the body, an 1100% increase in aluminum leaving the body after 120 days on MasterPeace.
Yeah, and 530% increase in lead.
Wow.
These are toxins that can affect you mentally and physically and cause massive amounts of inflammation.
Hey friends, welcome back. Thanks so much for tuning in. That was my returning guest, Caroline Mansfield and Will Houghton. Caroline is an expert in blood microscopy and urinalysis, whereas Will is an expert in hair analysis. And since there have been so many unwarranted attacks against MasterPeace, which has resulted in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit, we just want to level set for folks with the facts and the real science. The results of the new studies is stunning, and we've got it all for you right here, right now. Before we start, just a quick word about our sponsor. If you suffer from any type of daily pain, you need to listen to this message very carefully. So many of us are searching for effective ways to relieve pain without side effects or addiction. We've all seen the horrors of the opioid crisis. You may even be affected personally. And that's where a pioneering medical scientist comes in, Clint Winters. You may have seen this world-renowned health expert featured in the national media as he's unveiled a natural pain reliever that's taking the world by storm. I'm talking about Canolidine, the 100% drug-free way to get full-body pain relief without dangerous pills. Canolidine has become the go-to pain reliever for more than 1 million Americans and hundreds of professional athletes. Clint explains how Canolidine is the only compound on earth that optimizes your body's natural painkillers called endorphins at any age. Best of all, Canolidine won't make you feel the least bit groggy or drugged. You'll feel great, alert, and focused for the days ahead. And the best news is, Canolidine has no documented side effects after 14 years of extensive testing. So if you're dealing with pain, make sure you click on the link below and check out Clint's amazingly informative report on 100% American-made Canolidine. This innovation is changing lives by providing safe and powerful relief at 1/10 the cost of pain pills. The link is below. Hey friends, welcome back. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sean from SGT Report. Happy 2025. We're on a pro-human timeline. You know, that is my vision for what's coming. And I'm very hopeful for humanity because I know the timeline we'd be on if they had installed communist Kamala Harris. By the way, another ESG rat has jumped ship. Yes, Morgan Stanley quits Net Zero Banking Alliance ahead of Trump 2.0. Guys, do you know what great news that is? The Net Zero Alliance, innovating to zero by 2050, where we'd all live as serfs. UN Agenda 2030. Folks, the rats are jumping ship because they know Donald J. Trump is going to drill, baby, drill and make us energy independent, and we will no longer answer to people like Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. And if I'm wrong, I'll call the Trump administration out for all of it. Friends, so much to talk about today. Let me welcome my guests. Caroline Mansfield, a returning guest, registered naturopath, author, and blood microscopist, and Will Houghton. He's the mineral man, the longest serving hair analyst consultant in Europe. Will, do I have that right? Welcome.
Yeah, you went the long way around it, but it's just about right, yeah.
All right. Well, you know, I'm not very good at the bios and the intro.
No, you did fine. Yeah.
Carolyn is back. Carolyn, how are you?
I'm really good, and thank you for having me back on. You know, we've got some groundbreaking news to share with you today, so I'm really excited to be here to be at the forefront of this information.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you because, look, we're going to talk in part, guys, today about zeolite and some of the misunderstandings about the different types of zeolite. Of course, there's been some unwarranted, I think, attacks against MasterPeace, which is a product I take, and it's a product that the evidence shows is removing toxins from the blood of those who take it, including nanotech, possibly turning off MAC addresses in the vaxxed. Big story here to cover. We've got the receipts. We've got the analysis. We'll share all of that with you in just one second. But where I wanted to start, guys, is with these unprecedented attacks against humanity. Again, I want to play this. The thick fog being seen all over the world, the Western world anyway. I experienced this firsthand in Minnesota where I live, guys. Stupidly, for 3 days, I drove through this stuff and it didn't even occur to me to shoot video because I actually believed it was natural. But only later did I realize that this was all over social media. It's all over Twitter. People have been seeing this fog in the UK, in Florida, in New Jersey, like I said, Minnesota, all over the country, folks. And I'm coming back to my guests. Guys, do you know anything about this fog? They're spraying us like bugs over here, and we're all wondering what the heck it is they're spraying us with.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
sorry.
we just had 4 days of it. I mean, Caroline, did you have it where you were in North London?
I had it last year, actually. It started earlier here in the UK, and it was early in the morning, about 6:30 in the morning. A few times I noticed this. So I'd step outside, and it'd be this fog, but it would be smelling of chemicals. And very bad. I had to go back inside and close the door. And I thought, wow, I've never noticed this before. But it's also happened in New Zealand. My sister was on the beach, and this sort of smog came along, and she felt her eyes stinging, and she went. She had to leave the beach. But she was in bed unwell for about a week and a half following that incident. So, yeah, I think people are experiencing this all around the world.
Yeah, I mean, we had it. Yeah, I mean, I just felt that people were super fatigued when that was going on as well. Everyone I was talking to was just not. I mean, there seems to be illness everywhere at the moment.
You know, what occurred here in just outside of St. Paul, Minnesota, where I live, was 3 days of this, exactly what you just saw on screen there. I'm so disappointed in myself. I didn't shoot some video. Again, it didn't even occur to me, but it's the exact same thing for 3 days. This coincided right over the Christmas holiday, and I too got sick. I got the flu. I haven't had the flu in over a decade. But I got, I guess, what I'm calling the flu, and I don't know if it's associated with the fog or what, but here's what I want people to be very, very well aware of. Oh, and by the way, the creepy Biden administration, let me show you guys this. On their way out the door, this from Health Ranger Mike Adams, they've just put out a mask up, trust us video. Oh, these demon vipers. Guys, can you imagine the hell on earth of 4 more years of this anti-human regime in power? Oh my God. But you know what? Given all the fog and the spraying, maybe masking up for at least that 3 days in my neck of the woods would have been a good idea. Oh my goodness. And here's what I really wanted to share with folks. Friends, you got to realize people like Dr. James Giordano, well, they've been talking about smart dust and spraying cities for a very, very long time with nanotech, smart dust. Listen to this.
Moreover, you heard earlier about the idea of nanoparticulate matter that can be utilized in a weaponizable way. And here, too, we're looking very, very strongly at what nanoparticulate matter can do to the nervous system. Some ongoing studies with our colleagues in the medical branches of NATO have, in fact, shown that the use of nanoparticulate matter in a scatter arrangement can be used to incur what looks to be broad-scale epidemiological stroke epidemics. So what we're able to do here is infiltrate the brain space with nanoparticulate matter that aggregates in situ, on site in the brain. And does one of two things: either penetrates from the vascular space, gets in through the bloodstream, gets in through the nose, through the mucosa, or infiltrates the vascular space and clogs it. What is the result? What's called a nanoparticulate stroke, or a hemorrhagic diathesis, fancy word, for it's a predisposition to individuals having brain bleeds.
Okay, lots of fancy words in there. I'm coming back to my guests. Hey, I'm not trying to fearmonger here. This is very real science, and I think they're spraying the hell out of us. And it begs the question, what was the fog? What are the particulates being seen in the fog? What are we breathing? These are all valid questions, guys. And we haven't even begun the conversation about zeolite, MasterPeace, and getting this stuff out of our bodies. I just wanted to share the fact with the people that who knows what we're breathing, Carolyn?
I was going to say, well, we know that we're living in a very toxic world at the moment, and things are happening that didn't used to happen. And it seems to be stepping up. And this is why we need this. We need products to help us get this, these toxins out of our system. And in the study that we've just done, we took all the baseline results, and we are showing in our baseline results how toxic people are. And unless people are able to do this testing, they won't believe it. You know, it's very hard to believe that we are being sprayed, that this is happening with the geoengineering or whatever they're doing. And it's just hard to put that to one side because it's horrendous to believe. But it is happening, and our results even show, we've had all the baseline results from the intracellular toxicity test, from the high levels of graphene oxide to high levels of polyethylene glycol, uranium, radioactive compounds. They're high in people. So it's not just, guessing, second guessing this. We are. It's
not. I mean, you've got the spray, you've got the chemicals, you've got the food supply which is contaminated, but you've also got to consider the amount of EMF radiation that the body's got to deal with, the human shield has to deal with. And also, if you look at the fear and modern day slavery, which is what it is, which we're all subjected to, and bills going up and stress getting higher for people, for families. And so if that endocrine system is struggling and it starts to burn out, then you can't, your detoxification channels will become blocked, because you have no energy to naturally detox. And so it's not just the poisons you need to worry about, it's the fear and the propaganda that's put out there to make you scared so your body can't work properly.
Let me ask you this, Carolyn, given the unwarranted attacks against MasterPeace, and we're going to share the science in the new studies about the safety and efficacy of this product, as I understand it, not to attack those who are attacking us, but to defend this product. I think there's a lot of confusion about zeolites and the different types of zeolites. And I have experience in this space working with another fine company called Touchstone Essentials that makes a very good zeolite detox product. Can we talk about this, the difference? What's the confusion about zeolites? There's synthetic zeolites, there's natural zeolites.
Zeolites is an umbrella term. There's 40 different natural types of zeolites, and not all the natural types of zeolites are good for us, okay? And there's over 150 synthetic types of zeolites. Now, zeolites that are synthetic, made in a lab, they are made to be active. They're made to interact with biological tissue. And this is why you will find them in the patents for nanotechnology. And this is where the confusion is coming from. You won't find one study or one patent that involves natural clinoptilolite, which is what is used in the MasterPeace study or MasterPeace product. And in fact, what is used by mostly all clinoptilolite products out there. So this is where the confusion is. So when people are saying, oh, zeolites are toxic and they're involved in nanotech, yeah, sure, they are. But look at the type of zeolite that you're describing. It's an umbrella term, people. So when we're talking about natural clinoptilolite, this is the natural clinoptilolite. It's found, when the earth is spewing out, volcanic eruption, that's when the most toxic elements come out of the earth. And Mother Nature is so good at cleaning up the earth. And this is when the natural clinoptilolite is made as the lava hits the ocean. And the most cleanest ocean beds will be found in the area of natural clinoptilolite or natural zeolite. So this is why it's so good at cleaning up toxins, which we're going to go on to explain. But if you look at the comparison to synthetic zeolites, then there is no comparison. These are very toxic for our body. And also it depends on how they're made, because natural clinoptilolite has a powerful negative charge. And the synthetic zeolites have powerful positive charge. So they're completely different.
One is industrial and the other isn't. And so what a lot of these fabrications from these individuals, they've jumped on this. It's the industrial zeolite they're looking at.
Okay, well, because I don't know what they're looking at. I just know some of their claims have been, in my view, preposterous. And what they're alleging, I think, is also preposterous. So let's just talk about the fact that MasterPeace uses a natural zeolite, because one of the preposterous claims I heard made by one of these folks is the oceans are polluted and MasterPeace zeolite comes from the ocean. Therefore, MasterPeace zeolite is polluted. I think that is such element. That's such like kindergarten level logic. It defies belief that anybody uttered those words. Will?
Yeah, I mean, listen, do you eat sardines? Go and get yourself some sardines, yeah? Mix it with some red onion and mayonnaise and eat that. Because sardines is an underrated superfood. It's got so much in it. Funny enough, they swim in the ocean. Funny that. But they've had studies on it. Yeah, they've got everything has traces of toxins. But these things, the amount of minerals it's got in it, the amount of calcium, the amount of omega-3, the amount of selenium, the amount of vitamin D, it is a superfood for your body. Funnily enough, it comes from the ocean. So are we now saying the ocean, we don't go swimming? Are we saying that? Are they saying that as well?
Well, the sea plasma in MasterPeace is actually inland sea plasma. It's not marine sea plasma. And don't forget that, every single ingredient in MasterPeace has a COA, certificate of analysis for toxic elements. So it's not just being plucked out the ocean and made in some barn. It's going through proper facility where it has to be analyzed for toxicity. So that's just a silly claim.
Well, and the reason I wanted to have this conversation is because they are spraying us. We are being attacked, multi-vector attacks against humanity, from the vaccine to the fluoride and the stuff in the water, the nanotech, who knows what they're spraying in the skies, smart dust. We're being bathed in this stuff, and everybody is looking for a fix. I don't want to call anything a cure, but we want to be healthy. And if they are spraying us against our will without our consent, if they are injecting people all over the world now, not just with the bioweapons masquerading as vaccines, but with traditional shots that are now polluted with nanotech. I'm hearing now dental anesthesia has this technology in it. The flu shot, I'm told, now has mRNA technology in it. We want this stuff out of our blood and our bodies. So let's talk about the science. Is this a safe and effective product?
Yeah, I'm not a doctor. I need to say that. I'm a naturopathic practitioner, because I don't want people coming at me for that one. But is it safe and effective? 100% it's safe and effective. And I've got a PowerPoint I'd like to share with you to go through this so people can understand, because there's been so much misinformation, fired at MasterPeace. And I don't really understand it, but I'd rather focus on the positives and show the results of our new study to give people confidence in the product. So,
Caroline, before you do, can I just interject and just say one thing? Sean, when you say these claims are preposterous, I have seen preposterous claim and preposterous information. It really is the dregs of what you could say about anything. It's just, it really is. I think some of the claims are just ridiculous. They're straight out of a playpen. And this, I think that's what you're dealing with. And I think let's just move on to the positives, because I mean, it really is ridiculous. And so, as we've just said about the marine plasma, and what we'll show you now is the positives of the product.
I was going to say, it's more dangerous to be drinking municipal tap water than to take 5 drops.
Yeah,
a MasterPeace under the tongue. People are so worried about, oh, you're taking MasterPeace, it's doing all these terrible things to you. What, 5 drops twice a day? But they'll drink a pint of tap water, okay, which is full of chemicals and God knows what. It's now being processed with graphene oxide. So everyone needs to just get a bit of perspective here, I feel. Okay, so after much waiting, because people have been asking about the results from the study that we did in 2024, and we're just going through all the results now because we did quite a few tests. But this was based on the phenomenal study that we did in 2023, the pilot study, which showed, Sean, how all these toxic compounds from graphene oxide, polyethylene, polypropylene, and the forever chemicals all started off very high, or mainly very high in the test subjects, where there were 3, and how they came down to the borderline intolerable levels, and they kept going down. And we're saying about, we're in the toxic world, we're being bombarded every day. So whether we'd ever get down to 0, who knows? But I think it's very unlikely. But as long as we're sort of doing things to help ourselves, and MasterPeace is one of those tools to help us get down to the sort of the tolerable ranges, so we can pull this nonsense, this stuff, these toxins out of our body. So the new study was a study designed 2024, and it's 24 cohorts, there's 24 people. It was blinded, and we had a placebo control this time. And we did baseline tests, which we conducted at the beginning of the study, and then we did follow-up testing at 120 days. And we had 6 different age categories this time, between 26 and 35 up to 76 and 85. And we had mixed groups of vaccinated and unvaccinated, and I'm talking about the COVID vaccines, and also some flu vaccines, in both the treatment group and the placebo group. And we did third-party testing. So it's not us testing. Everything was sent off to third-party labs, and we did the urine toxic metal analysis, the hair and mineral analysis, full blood count as well, and also the IEC, the intercellular electrical capacity environmental toxins test. And we had the baselines for those, which I'll go on to explain. We also did a well-being questionnaire, which we conducted with all of the test subjects at the baseline and then again at the follow-up. And honestly, I have to tell you, Sean, the results are just more than we could have hoped for to show this mitigation from these toxins in this world. Our treatment group took 5 drops of MasterPeace twice a day, and the placebo group took 5 drops of saline twice a day. So just to show you the variables that we had in the study, as I said, it was men and women, mixed vaccinated, different ages. And I'm going to go on to talk about the urine test, and Will's going to talk about the hair test. But in the urine test, we test against 20 different metals. And what we found was, I'm going to give you a key overview, and then I'm going to go through some, individual test results for you. But in the placebo group, the toxic metals either remained unchanged or they increased. So there was no mitigation of toxicity at all. So there was absolutely no reductions. And this shows that there's, no active detoxification occurred in the placebo group. Now, in the treatment group, the toxic metal values generally decreased. There were a few slightly increases, which showing detoxification, or they remained stable. In the placebo group, 100% of the test subjects remained within their reference ranges. There was no movement at all. But in the treatment group, you will see that mainly they decreased, but we also saw increases, slight increases, which shows mobilization of toxins. And also we're correlating this in with the hair analysis, which we were going through together with Will earlier. And you can see that, when there's been a slight increase in metals, you can see the increase in the hair analysis. We can see it leaving the body through hair and also through other means. Sometimes it will leave through the liver, via the gut. But you're going to see variables. But mercury, Sean, is one of the most difficult metals to get out of a body, and it can take a year or two. If you're doing detoxification with a client, you will see levels, fluctuate until gradually they will come down. It's a bit like the chart we saw, for the mitigation in our pilot study. You'll see there's fluctuations, but they gradually come down. It's a similar story. So, but what we found was that 64% of the test subjects had a reduction in mercury, which in 120 days is pretty outstanding. That's a very high percentage. And as I said, 23% showed a slight increase, which is showing there's mobilization, which is what we want to see. But if we also did the well-being improvement score, questionnaire, so we asked the test subjects at the beginning of the study, what their sleep quality was like, what their dream vividness, and a few other things, physical energy, cognitive function, aches and pains, consciousness awareness and daily daily joy. And you can see that each time that these scores went up. So across the board, there was an improvement in all of these categories. And the highest one was in the daily joy, which is quite interesting, because I think, as we clear out these toxins, especially from the pineal gland, with the fluoride, we're able to connect up to our intuition that much more, and we're able to make better decisions as we do connect into, source energy, or whatever you want to call it, the universe. We're becoming more connected. And we feel more joy when we're that way than when we're more toxic.
Can I just interject there as well?
Yeah.
I think with MasterPeace, because of the marine plasma and it's such clean sodium that it's given the cells, the more that adrenal, that sodium pump is working the cells, that's also going to create a feeling of well-being and joy. And so that's clicking in there as well. So if the endocrine system has support from high quality sodium that can actually enter the cell, then that's also going to help as well.
Yeah, it's a good point. Good point with the energy, because the cells need energy to detox,
yeah.
Right? Yeah,
yes.
And the sodium gives you that boost as well. But if we look at the personal comments from that improvement questionnaire, you will see in the placebo group, it's very interesting. They will say, "Oh, I can't say I noticed any changes." And don't forget, this is blinded. They had no idea what they were taking, whether it's placebo or the real McCoy. Or another one would say, "Overall, I think my health and well-being have stayed quite similar." Or there was no comment. But if you go to the treatment group, the comments were just amazing. They were saying, "I feel more spiritual. I'm becoming more aware." They're saying, "Since taking MasterPeace, I feel less stress and generally less emotional, more stable."
But those are a little bit more subjective and nuanced pieces of data, aren't they? I mean, we really want to stick, if you can, with more quantifiable scientific data that really rebuts these, what I call preposterous claims and unwarranted attacks against MasterPeace. And we'll get to the hair samples and the results of the test that Will has done. I don't want to take you off track, Caroline, but I want to try to play the pragmatist in this conversation because I know we do have the science on our side.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's great. So let's go on to a few individual test subjects. I mean, the results for me are just outstanding. You don't usually see this at 120 days, of anyone on the detox program. One client had a mitigation of nearly 100% aluminium from her body. because there's all this going around saying, oh, the zeolites release aluminium. But we haven't seen that at all in the pilot study. All the aluminium came down. And this client who had the highest aluminium, she was in the red zone. She came down to, within lower than reference range, actually. So hers came down by 99.36%. And also her uranium started off high, a radioactive compound. She had 100% reduction in her uranium. So she was down below the detection threshold, which is 0.03 for uranium. And another elevated marker for her was barium, and that came down by 26.53%.
You know what's good news about that, though, too, is I want to just point out for the audience largely knows this, but for those who don't, the chemtrails, the geoengineering that's being done, the stuff they're spraying in the skies does include aluminum and barium. So this is the stuff that is really in the blood of the vaxxed and the unvaxxed alike, and that's why I wanted to have this conversation. If MasterPeace is helping to reduce these harmful toxins in our blood, then that alone makes it warranted to consider taking. And I just want to point out, too, that one of the critics made the preposterous claim that MasterPeace contained uranium. Really preposterous claims. Go ahead, Carolyn.
No, I agree. I mean, it's preposterous because it wouldn't get past the COA. It wouldn't be able to be bottled and out there for sale. So the claims are just ridiculous, and I don't even want to focus on them because we have the COAs to prove it's a very clean product, and we have the test results to show that it's removing the very elements that people are saying it's containing. It's removing this from people's bodies, and we actually have baseline results of toxic elements in everybody, actually. So people are very toxic, and MasterPeace is getting it out. And another one is lead. Lead is very difficult to remove from people as well. And it usually takes a lot of time, a bit like mercury. But this test subject had a 95.53% reduction in lead, a 93.04% reduction in mercury, and again, uranium. Uranium came down by 82%. So, it is getting out these toxins that are in our environment, in the geoengineering. There was another test subject. Who are we here? And again here, this lady, 37-year-old, she was in the treatment group. She's non-vaxxed, and her lead came down by, her lead and mercury in the red zone, they came down by 70% and 81%. Cesium, another radioactive compound, was high with her, and that came down by 42%, and thallium down by 71%. So if MasterPeace was causing toxicity, how is it removing all these toxins from people's bodies? Also, the last test subject I just want to show you is a 65-year-old female whose lead and mercury were very high, and they have come down by 43% and 38%. But what was significant with her test result was that her antimony levels had gone shooting right up. So I questioned her about, what could possibly be the cause of this. And she had actually been traveling to China during the study. And China is the world's largest producer of antimony. So I feel that potentially this particular client, because nobody else had the high antimony, rise like this, and this is like, it's out of sync with everyone else's tests. I think by traveling to China, somehow there must have been some toxicity that's entered her from that particular trip. So I've actually asked her to carry on taking MasterPeace, and I'm going to retest her in about 3 months' time, and we'll just see what the antimony level has done.
I don't even know that word. What are you saying? Antimony?
It's another toxic metal. Yes, another toxic metal that's in the test, antimony. Huh. So it's through industrial processes that you get antimony toxicity, so it can become in the air, but it can get into the water source as well, or in the food source if the water is going to where food is growing. So so that was just an interesting observation. But as I say, this is why it's so fascinating doing this testing, because you can pick out little, bits of information like that and try and work out particularly if something's out of sync from the rest of the group, possibly why that is and where that's possibly come from. But just quickly show you like overview of lead detoxification in the study. You'll see that the blue markers down the bottom, these are all the placebo group, and then the white initials are the treatment group. And you can see that either they stayed the same or they came down in the treatment group. But this is what it was like across the board. The placebo group never changed. They just stayed in their same area of toxicity. They never moved. So we've got all the charts to show this, and I feel, you know, as we go on and we start evaluating the test results even further, we're going to find more and more information like this. So people are talking about MasterPeace and the safety, and as I said, you know, there's 2 COAs for each of the ingredients in MasterPeace that, you know, going into the facility, they have to be tested. And then the final product itself is tested in the GMP compliant facility, which is a, you know, FDA regulated facility. So it's being MasterPeace is being handled by a huge facility, you know, handling many other products. So such a facility wouldn't risk putting out a product that is supposed to be so highly toxic as all these trolls are saying, you know, just for MasterPeace.
Well, let me jump in and just ask, for those who don't know, what is a COA? What's that stand for?
It's a certificate of analysis.
Okay.
So you have to be looking to make sure that there's no toxicity within a product that's going to go out to harm people.
Okay,
So
and Joe, just so the audience understands, if they've heard any of these attacks against this product, this is not a product being made in the basement of somebody in North America or Canada. Okay, this is a product that is being made to the highest levels of purity possible. And to impugn the product is also to impugn, and I would say slander, those facilities that are providing the COAs. So it's very dangerous territory these people have gotten themselves into, which has resulted in a lawsuit, because now they've impugned the integrity of the facilities that provide the COAs, right, Carolyn?
Well, that's exactly it. So, you know, how do you come back from that? I just don't understand it. But also, MasterPeace, there's been a groundbreaking independent study or independent analysis done. It's been conducted by MB Labs. And they have shown, which is on, there's a link I can send to you, Sean. But again, they've tested for 30 elements, and everything is tested, yes, for safety levels, and no for exceeds toxicity. And you're talking, they're looking at cadmium, you know, calcium, chromium, cobalt, copper, gold, iron, you know, lead, magnesium. They're looking at so many different elements, and nothing has come up as a toxic level. In fact, it's been completely shown that it's 100% safe to take. It's a clean product. And if we want to go just a little bit further, we know that Dr. Robert Young has done all the microscopy on MasterPeace Zeolite Z, and you've probably seen these images, Sean.
Yeah.
He's the only one who's shown MasterPeace right down to the nano level. You know, when you're looking at this, you know, hexagonal construct of the zeolites. I mean, look at that, how beautiful that looks. You know, and he's shown also, I mean, his work is just totally missed or just ignored. I don't really understand it. But he is showing how MasterPeace is not only absorbing, but adsorbing these cytotoxic, genotoxic, magnetic toxic, positively charged graphene oxide nanodots. You look how it grabs hold of them. And this is why in our initial study, when we're able to test for graphene oxide, if I just go back up here, we had in one of the test subjects I think it was a 97% reduction in graphene oxide within 30 days or 35 days. And that's because it's grabbing hold of, sorry, my little finger won't work on my mouse. It's grabbing hold of these graphene oxide nanodots and pulling them out the body.
Yeah,
so
like a sponge.
Yeah, it's just incredible. And you know, this was done with that intracellular toxicity test, our initial pilot study, where we were able to test for these environmental toxins. And in this 24 cohort study, we got everybody's baseline, Sean, of their toxic load of environmental toxins. And we chose 27 this time, not just 5, but 27. And you can see on this particular client, you know, graphene oxide was very high. Aluminium was very high, cesium was very high. And we tested for so many just wonderful, wonderful toxins to see what the levels would be. But during the study, Sean, the founder of the lab died, and the lab immediately stopped doing the test. It was just quite incredible. I don't know if you've heard of that.
I have. Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, I would say it was very fishy, but there are such things as coincidences, so we'll write it off as that.
there are, but it's just such a shame. But what's good about it is that we did actually get everybody's toxic loads. So we're going to be putting all this into a graph so we can show people, because no one can do this testing. It's only MasterPeace that was able to do this testing to show the environmental toxins. There's no other lab that will show these levels or that show these compounds. There's no other lab in the world. We've searched everywhere.
These test results that you're sharing here are the result of urinalysis. Is that correct?
So yes, the results back up here are the urinalysis tests. What I've got left on my slide deck there are for Will. Those are the urinalysis tests.
Oh, okay. Well, then my timing was good. My timing was good.
Yes.
I don't want to steal your thunder. I wanted to come back to you because now the hair specialist, Will Houghton, can take us through that analysis. So we've got the urinalysis, and now we've got the hair analysis, because there's just a few ways you can get this stuff out of your body, guys. When you take the MasterPeace, you're either going to excrete it out through defecations, through urine, through sweat, I guess through tears, and through your hair growth, right, Will?
Yeah, and through your breath as well. Okay. And so if the body's having to rely on secondary, your liver is the chief in commander. It will take care of it. That's its job, to take care of most toxins. If your liver's congested, it's going to rely on the kidneys. If the kidneys are congested, it's going to rely on the skin, the breath, the sweat, this sort of thing. And so your body's clever. It's got secondary, third, also detoxification channels. And so sometimes, all these things, Sean, are markers. They're indicators, they're markers. It's just like if you go to the doctor, you do a blood test, they're just markers. And so what MasterPeace has tried to do is try to get the best tests on the market and give us the best markers that we can get. And that's what we're doing. And so this is the best we can do. If there's any other test out there, we would do it. But hair analysis, I would say, is probably the most cost efficient and most highly effective in showing changes in body's metabolism and extracellular activity and what's being delivered into the bloodstream. And so what that's doing, because we're monitoring the extracellular activity, that's actually indicating to us what's happening on intracellular. So if intracellular is releasing it, it releases it into the extracellular system, into the bloodstream and the fluids. And with hair analysis, then with the fluids, then go into the hair shaft, and then that hair grows, and then we can monitor what's coming out of the body. And so the hair's actually a really safe storage site, also like the nails as well. And so there is nail analysis, but it's a lot easier to obviously analyze the hair. And so what we're looking at with this graph, JM, fine. And so with Joseph, what you're going to look at here is right. First of all, guys, I'm colorblind, right? So I think it's dark blue and light blue, the two graphs. And so what you've got to remember is the bar on the left is the current level, right? The bar on the right is the previous level. If you look at sodium, potassium, which is the third and the fourth, you can see his have gone right up. Yeah, you see those two big, tall pillars? Yep. Yeah, that is potentially increasing his adrenal strength. And so that's, first of all, we're looking at marine plasma right here. Okay, so this is JM, sorry. So basically, we're looking there at the increase of adrenal strength, and we're looking at it compared to the previous level, and the current level has really, really gone up. But we can look at minerals another time. What we're talking about in this conversation is toxins, right? So with hair analysis study, what we look at as being highly, highly toxic, whether it's a toxic mineral or toxic metal. Okay, so far Caroline has talked about the toxic metals, the classic toxic metals like cadmium, mercury, lead, aluminium, that sort of thing. With hair analysis, we also look at toxic minerals, and there's loads of people at the moment talking about toxic iron, toxic copper, and toxic manganese. Now these are highly toxic to the body in a bio unavailable way. So if you have a toxic biounavailable iron or copper or manganese, that prevents you from actually absorbing into your cells the bioavailable iron, copper, and manganese. So with hair analysis, an increase in iron, copper, and manganese is actually a detoxification. Okay, and so not only are we looking at the heavy metals such as aluminium, arsenic, cadmium, mercury, lead, we're looking at some toxic minerals as well. And so if you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, if you can see the 6th bar along on this graph, okay, you can see the dark blue bar has nearly doubled. Okay, so his iron has gone from 0.8 to 2.0. That is a clear iron detoxification. Okay, and that is biounavailable iron leaving the body. If we jump over to manganese, which is 2 bars along, that's gone from 0.009 to 0.044. So he's had a 450% increase in toxic manganese leaving his body. So that's incredible. I mean, Sean, I deliver detox programs to people and have done for the last 15 years. I advise supplements such as TMG. I advise infrared sauna. I advise all sorts of colonic stuff, broad spectrum supplement programs. I don't see these changes happen in 4 months with supplementation sauna. They just don't happen. I don't see someone's manganese going up by 500%, detoxing manganese going up by 500%. But if you jump down to his toxins, which is the second level of graph on the left, you can see that big bar that's coming up, which is aluminium. Yeah, you guys say aluminum. His level went from 0.86 to 10.73. That is over 1,100% increase in detoxification of aluminum. And so what we're seeing with JM here, what we're seeing is a broad spectrum detoxification, which in my opinion cannot happen with a standard detoxification protocol with supplements and sauna. I remember sending Matt this graph and saying in 120 days, I just can't believe it, that the product has managed to deliver a broad spectrum detoxification. I mean, I haven't even touched on this graph. If you look over to lead, he's gone from 0.03, I think it is, to 0.82. I mean, this is like thousands of % increase in lead. He's had an increase in mercury, an increase in cadmium.
And when you say increase, you're talking about an increase.
It is detoxification. So it basically is being released from the cells on an intracellular level into the extracellular blood system and is being released. And so then it needs to be delivered, or it's going to be delivered out of the system into the hair or through the kidneys or whatever. And so basically we're seeing an increase of toxic mobilization. So the product is dislodging the toxin, grabbing it and delivering it out of the body.
Okay, so in the case of manganese, it's a 450% increase in toxic manganese leaving the body, an 1,100% increase in aluminum leaving the body after 120 days on MasterPeace.
Yeah, and 530% increase in lead.
Wow.
And iron, 150%. These are toxins that can affect you mentally and physically and cause massive amounts of inflammation. And so inflammation, autoimmune conditions, mental and physical illness of any strange symptom that doctors don't understand can usually be put down to mineral deficiency or toxicity of these metals. Now, mineral deficiency, by the way, happens because people are toxic. And so the toxic metals are blocking you from absorbing the supplements or even the organic vegetables you're eating. The toxic metals are blocking those minerals from being absorbed. So the quicker you can get this stuff out, the better. The more connected you're going to feel on a spiritual level, the better you're going to feel over time with your endocrine system, which is going to give you more energy. Your immunity is going to improve. This is just one graph we're looking at here. And so this is the first one. Caroline, do you want to move on to the second?
Sure, here we go. CK.
Okay, CK. Okay, for CK, if we look again, the second 2 bars, the third and fourth, sodium, potassium. Sean, if you look at the increase in sodium, potassium, that's adrenal strength. So again, we talk about the sodium pump. And sodium increasing the kind of electric charge of the body, that's increasing adrenal strength. And so that's what I just want to touch on first. We're talking about minerals now, not toxins, but I just want to mention that. If we go over to iron, she's had a really nice kind of increase in that as well. And so that's gone from 0.5 to 1.2. So that's a 120% increase. If we jump over to manganese, which is the 2 bars along from iron, then we look at that, and that's got a 235% increase. And if we jump down to our toxic metals, again, look at that aluminum bar. Look at the current level; it has shot up. And aluminum, I mean, she was getting rid of 1.2 on the graph for aluminum anyway, but it shot up to 3.47, which is a lot of aluminum. I mean, it's a 189% increase, but she's getting rid of a lot. You know, if we go across to the far bar on the left, which is lead, we have an increase there of 365% of leaving intracellular, going into extracellular, and being detoxed out of the body. And Caroline, I think you were talking about mercury with this client as well before, saying they'd had problems with mercury in the past and they'd actually done mercury chelation. Was that right?
Oh, that was the next one actually.
Oh, that was the next one. That's not CK. Okay, fine. Well, for mercury anyway, we have an 87% increase. So again, you can see that blue bar, and so that's kind of shooting up there.
So an 87% increase in mercury leaving the body.
Exactly.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so because of course it's in the hair, which means it's outside the body. So you're seeing an increase. Got it.
Yeah. So it's an increase in detoxification, guys. It's not like, you know, if we're seeing low numbers here on hair analysis, if we start seeing like really low numbers of toxins, that's what we call poor elimination. And now a lot of the population are in poor elimination. You hardly see any numbers. It's like 0.001 for lead, arsenic, cadmium, all these things. It's really, really low, especially for people who have really weakened endocrine systems. We see really poor numbers. And, you know, often I get clients come back to me going, oh, you know, it's great that I haven't got any toxins showing on my graph. And it's like, that is not a positive thing, because what we're showing here is your metabolic activity of what's leaving the body.
Can I just interject too, as a non-science guy? I'm certainly no doctor. I'm just a guy who interviews cool people. And I just think it's really profound that this is the results of the testing. Am I a dumb guy to be amazed by these results? I mean, I think what you're covering here, a 1,100% increase in aluminum leaving the body via the hair analysis. Is there another product that you've ever seen do this well? This seems like a pretty big deal to me.
No, listen, I'm unbiased coming towards this. Okay. I mean, Matt said to me when he started the trial, he said, Will, be honest with me. If it's bad, tell me. And if it's good, tell me. And I was always going to do that. And I live by a guy. I feel like I'm quite connected to whatever made me, and whatever that is, a different conversation. But I don't have it in me to just, you know, talk crap just for the sake of it, just because someone wants me to. I'm going to tell you the truth. And I called Matt excitement when I first saw JM's aluminum level going up, and that for me was incredible. 1,200% of aluminum leaving the body. That's something, you know. And if we just look at all the toxic levels of all the other two graphs we're going to look at here, I just think that for me, I've never seen it. I mean, what I've done, what I've considered quite strong detoxification with a mixture of products before and a mixture of detoxification protocols before. Toxins just edge up with that. You know, they just edge up over time. It takes, I would say, 2 years for people to start actually, you know, with daily sauna therapy. I mean, Sean, this stuff takes time. You've got to sit in a sauna for like 40 minutes a day, maybe longer. You've got to spend like hundreds of dollars on supplements every month to get the results over years. I mean, what we're looking at with MasterPeace is really, it's doing 120 days. To me, it just blew me away. I mean, in the trial, and we had a significant amount of trial participants that weren't placebo showing results like this. We haven't got time to show you them all. We've just picked out three, basically.
Yeah.
Um,
I just want to say too that I had Crow 777 on. He's a longtime friend of mine. He's one of the guys
yeah,
with the most integrity that I've ever met in the space of truth media. He's a straight shooter, and he's an affiliate of MasterPeace. And when he first heard these attacks, his heart sank. He thought, "My God!" I mean, the last thing he or I or any of us would want to do is harm anybody. We only seek to help people. And unlike Pfizer, supplying Anderson Cooper with, $10 million a year to gaslight the American people to run out and get your bioweapon masquerading as a vaccine, we don't take that blood money. So I was very eager to get you guys on to cover this research. Okay, this is the real analysis, guys. This is the real science. Just sharing it with the audience because, there's nothing that offends my spirit more, and I've said this so many times, than bearing false witness against your neighbor. That's what the mainstream horror media does 24/7.
yeah,
And I personally feel that's what's been done in this case, bearing false witness. So I wanted to defend the product and get you guys on to talk about the science because I want to help people. None of us here
yeah.
want to hurt people. That I can assure you, folks.
Oh, I
Yeah,
mean, this is yeah. Sorry, Caroline.
no, I was going to say, I wouldn't be here talking about the study if the study results were poor. You know, they've just come back and they are groundbreaking, Sean, I have to say. So, people just need to make up their own minds and they need to, what I was saying to on the show, Crow, was just be discerning. Who are you following? Who are you listening to? And not everyone's got it 100% correct. Maybe they are right of a lot of things that they post and sometimes they may not be. And this just happens to be the case. And I don't know why this is happening. I would hate to think they're doing it on purpose, but potentially there is that. I really don't know. But it's become the awake horror media as much as it is the mainstream horror media. And this bearing false witness is definitely, I was listening to your show the other day, Sean, and that's exactly what's happening, and it's what's happening to MasterPeace. And actually it's what's happening to team members as well. People making out they know people more than they do, and saying things that are not true or correct. So it came under fire, and we've got the science to prove that this product is doing what we've said it does all along, is it's removing these harmful toxins in this very toxic world.
Yeah, and let me just say one last thing, and Will, I'll turn it over to you for your final words. If we've missed anything, take it away. But when I had Crow on and I was really under the weather, and before I hit record, I said, "Crow, man, I've had the flu for 2 days. It's just laid me on my butt." Meanwhile, with that fog going on, I didn't even tie the two and two together. And he said, "Sean, are you on Recoweg 6?" And I said, "Reco what?" I said, "I've never even heard of that, Crow." And he said, "Recoweg, Dr. Recoweg." And he took me through that whole Recoweg story. Recoweg 1 for arthritis, Recoweg 6 for the flu, like all this great stuff. And he said, this is what they used to teach before Rockefeller medicine. This is the real stuff, the real nutrients, the opposite of pharmakia that can make you feel better when you have these ailments. I'd never even heard of Dr. Recoweg. So God bless Crow. The reason I share that with the audience is because they've lied to us about everything for our entire lives, guys. Rockefeller, Big Pharma. I mean, come on, go and ask your doctor if Humira is right for you. There's got to be a better way. And this is not medical advice. What we've shared in this broadcast is not medical advice. Okay. I'm not advocating anything for anybody. I'm saying do your own research. And I take MasterPeace 5 drops under the tongue twice a day. And I think it's helped me. I guess I should do my own blood analysis, I should do my own urinalysis, I guess. Carolyn?
Yeah, you can do. I mean, this is what we're encouraging, or what MasterPeace are encouraging, is the hair analysis testing. So they're actually, I mean, Will, you know more about it than me, but you get 3 free bottles of MasterPeace if you buy a hair analysis test. And then you test yourself again at the 3-month mark. Is that correct, Will?
Yeah. So 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months, yeah. So this is being
I'd say four months is better.
Let me ask you guys this before we part ways. So there are doctors who I've interviewed who are friends of mine, who have been on the show time and time again. And I'll just say it, Dr. Lee Vliet bumps a little bit on zeolites. And so I think, there is confusion within the space, even amongst doctors I respect. And I think I can't speak for Dr. Lee Vliet, I'll ask her next time she's on. But I think one of her concerns is that this zeolite detoxification protocols, yeah, they take bad stuff out of your body like heavy metals, graphene, nanoplastics, etc., but they also take the good nutrients out. Do we want to talk a little bit about that? Is there any danger in taking too much good stuff out when we do this type of protocol and we need to replace that with other nutrients? Caroline, can you speak to that?
Well, MasterPeace is made with Solargy, which is the marine plasma, oh, sorry, the sea plasma. So it's full of minerals. So when a toxin is removed from its, its forever home by the zeolite clinoptilolite, it's replaced with minerals. So the product is actually remineralizing you at the same time as detoxing you. So this is the benefit and the joy of taking MasterPeace. You're not just taking zeolite on its own. You do have that mineral replacement. But having said that, any detoxification protocol, you should be helping your body. You just don't rely on one product. So if you're, taking soreness, for example, and you're detoxing, you will be detoxing minerals. So you want to always make sure that you're replacing minerals and you're having the correct diet, having, as we say, the alkaline diet, having a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables, which are full of minerals, which is where you get your minerals from, having lots of water for helping your body cleanse, and also lots of grounding. These things make a huge difference as to how your body absorbs minerals and utilizes them. Because if we're in more of a paramagnetic state, if we're surrounded by our tech every day and sitting in front of it and interacting with it, this causes our body to be more paramagnetic as opposed to diamagnetic, which is what we want to be when we're grounded and we've got bare feet on the ground. All these things make a difference. And if our body has inside of us these conductive materials like graphene oxide, and then we're sitting in front or we're holding our phones, we know this is interacting and this is causing blood coagulation and problems. So we're not delivering nutrients and taking away waste products by our blood because it's becoming more sticky. So all these things play into it. It's not just about one product. You have to make it a lifestyle right now because it's such a toxic world, as we've discovered. So there's a number of different things you should be doing to help yourself.
I mean, I do think also that, I mean, I'm the mineral man, right? That's what I talk about online. I am Mr. Mineral. And so I'd always advocate taking supplementations, basic supplementation anyway. I mean, MasterPeace, as Caroline rightly says, has got those bioavailable minerals in it, but it's a strong detoxification product. And so, I mean, I would always, I say to everyone I meet, listen, just take basic supplements, because our food is often stripped of nutrients anyway, because it's over-farmed. And, we're up against it, as Caroline just said, against EMF anyway, against whatever's in the air, or whatever's in the water that you're drinking as well. And so the more help you can give yourself, the better. But as Caroline said, this is one product that is proving, with the best tests that we can use, that it is getting rid of toxins that are causing massive amounts of broad spectrum illness across society.
Well, I think that's beautifully said, and it's a great summarization of our entire discussion. Caroline, Will, have we missed anything? Anything else you want to discuss? Or tell us how people can follow your work, your websites, anything you'd like.
Caroline? Do you want to...
No, you go, Will.
Okay, so I mean, I'm not a great guy on social media. This is my resolution in 2025 to be more so. I often find it's kind of I don't know. I never keep up with it very well. But you can find me on YouTube, which actually shadow banned me quite quickly years ago. You can find me as Mineral Man. On Instagram, you can find me as Mineral Man again. And so I do YouTube. My website is nutritional-balancing.co.uk. You can look at the hair testing and you can read about me. You can also get my YouTube channel on there, everything I talk about. I talk about grounding a lot. I talk about spirituality. I talk about minerals, obviously. But funnily enough, with my YouTube channel, I often talk about connection, spirituality, trauma release, all the things that we should be doing alongside detoxification. Because, listen, we're not just here to save our bodies, we're here to save our souls as well. And over time, to get closer to that divine connection, we need to be releasing things that hold us back. That isn't just toxic metals, that's traumas as well. And so I talk a lot about that. Caroline, over to you.
Yeah, and I just want to say, really, we're on here today to talk about the results of MasterPeace. And I really feel that this product is a game changer. And I feel this is why it's being attacked, or has been. But I just want to keep it on the positive note and just say, we are getting the results. And again, it's our second study, or MasterPeace's second study. And the results are coming in just as favorable as they were from the first study, if not even more, even better.
Well, very good. I do appreciate you guys very much today, and I want to thank you for your time, your expertise. Carolyn Mansfield, registered naturopath and blood microscopist, and the longest serving hair analysis expert in Europe, I would say, Will
I
Hope.
think. I hope.
Yeah. Thank you, Will. We appreciate you. Carolyn, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you
Sean.
so much. Thanks for having us on again, Sean.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Guys, I hope we've helped demystify zeolites to some extent, and certainly MasterPeace specifically. And I want to thank you all for tuning in. I'll remind you, this is what we try to do every day, guys, here. We try to bring you the real news, the antidote to corporate propaganda and CIA, Mockingbird, mainstream media lies 24/7. And to that end, check us out directly at sgtreport.com. Happy 2025, guys. And until next time, God bless you and yours. Bye-bye.
The United States Congressional Record actually states that the description of what they were capable of producing in the lab was virtually identical to what the AIDS virus is and does. It is a leukemia, lymphoma, sarcoma, cancer complex, immune suppressive agent. Now, that's exactly what we're looking at with COVID now and these COVID cancers. It's exactly what our concerns are with regard to the mutation.